Made it to San Antonio and I unpacked all of my stuff into my hotel room, and I am getting ready to start sewing something, but I need some fabric. So I looked up some quilt shops in the area, and I'm going to try to hit up all of them while I'm here. But the first one, it looked the most simple to get to. City driving is just not really my forte. So I went kind of on the outskirts to a quilt shop called So Special Quilts. I'm going to go in and see what inspires me, and I'm going to try to record some in there, but it looks pretty busy, so I'm probably not going to be talking to the camera because people kind of look at you weird. But anyways, let's go. I never thought that I would walk into a quilt shop and not recognize any of the fabrics or any of the designers, but a lot of these fabrics they don't carry in my local quilt shops, so I was just way amazed with all of these different beautiful fabrics. And the lady that worked here said that they specialize in very happy and bright fabrics, which is pretty obvious as you look at all the different fabrics that they carry. So I started looking at this fabric and I really like it, but there was another one that caught my eye just a little bit more than that. I might have to come back and get some of this fabric because it is so pretty. So here's the fabric that caught my eye, and I really am not 100% sure what I'm going to make with it yet, but it is something that I just had to have. So I was stuck between the top row, which is this one right here, and I absolutely adore those tiny little mushrooms. But I ended up deciding on the lighter colorway. It's called Evermore by Sweetfire Road from Moda. I FaceTimed my family and said goodnight to the kids, and now it's time to unwrap this jelly roll, and that's probably one of my favorite things in the whole world to do. Oh gosh, that fabric is just so pretty. The pattern that I decided on is called Stash Buster number 8 from Karen over at Just Get It Done Quilts. And I'll leave the link to her website in my bio, so you can click on that and get the free pattern. I'm not going to do a full-blown tutorial on this pattern. First off, because it's not my pattern, and second off, Karen's tutorial is there, you can't add any more to that. So it's going to be more of like watch me sew / review of the pattern. I have it separated into 2 piles of 20 from darkest to lightest, and you check this with going black and white, and that tells you your color value. So I think it's pretty close. I didn't bring my tripod with me, so I'm going to have to do this one-handed as best as I can to show you the process of how to get these fabrics ordered and labeled. I'm going to call this row 1 and I'm going to call this row 2. So I'm going to take the lightest from row 1 and put it on top of the lightest from row 2 all the way down to where I only have 1 row of 2 fabrics. The whole way. So now I have 1 pile, and I'm going to take hotel paper, hotel pen, and the pens that I brought with me and label them 1 to 20. And that's the way that I have them all labeled. We're going to come over and grab row 1 and row 20. I'm going to take the label off of each one and set it to the side, and then I'm going to open up each one of these fabrics. I really regret not bringing my tripod. And I'm going to line them up real nice on the cutting mat. So we're going to trim off the selvages. Nice and lined up. And then the first one gets cut at 2.5 inches. And like I said, you'll want to go to Karen's website and get that pattern printed off. That way you have the step-by-step instructions. The little ones are going to get labeled 1, and we're going to set those to the side. And now this long one needs to be cut at 40.5 inches. And then I'm going to label that with the number 20. Set those to the side, and then grab 2 and 19, and then just follow the directions on the pattern. And each cut, the little one gets added 2 inches, and the big one you subtract 2 inches all the way through each one of the top and bottom of the pile. And then all of these fabrics, keeping the darks and the lights together as they go through the gradient, they get sewn together on the right side and the left side, kind of making like an alternating pattern. So I got a little bit carried away last night when I was sewing, and I completed this quilt top, all but like I had 2 seams to sew during my lunch break. So as far as the ease of sewing this together, literally the only points you have to match up is those right in the very, very center. With when I started into the pink and I was supposed to transition over to the yellow, I kept going on the pink. So let me turn this around. So I have more pink in this one than I do in the dark to light, and I have more yellow in the dark to light than I do into the light to dark. So if you're not paying super close attention, the ombre effect could go out of whack, but I didn't want to seam rip, and I thought that it looked just fine the way it was, so I just continued sewing. I think all in all, it probably took me 5 hours while watching TV, so super easy quilt to throw together, and I don't have a way to trim it up here in the hotel, so it is staying like this until I get it back home. I'm going to show you how I fold up quilts to keep the ends from fraying whenever you're traveling with them. And it's just my way. I'm sure there's other ways to do it. Okay, so I have it zoomed out on wide mode, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold each one of these sides in to almost halfway. Let me get this straightened up. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this side. Like I said, almost halfway. And I don't want the edges to be folded, so I'm keeping them back off of the middle. Now I'm going to fold it in half and try to keep the points, like I said, from getting folded. And then I'm going to repeat the same process with the other sides. And then fold that in half. And there is my folded quilt with no exposed seams all the way, or not seams, but edges all the way around. So I'm going to put this into my storage containers that I brought with me, and I'm going to get started on another project. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.